It's the 100th episode of Science with Shields, so we're doing experiments with dry ice.
We are beautiful science, compliance, baby, you and me, a cosmic alliance, defiance.
Everyone, it is meteorologist Christy Shields, and welcome to the 100th episode of Science with Shields. I cannot believe we have made it to 100 episodes, so thank you to everyone who's been along on this journey with me, doing all these fun science experiments. And I do want to give a shout out to Justin, because once COVID happened, we've been shooting the Science with Shields episodes at home, and every Sunday whenever we shoot these, he gives up his time to film these, so big thank you to him. So today's episode, we wanted to do something a little bit, I guess, dangerous, if you could say that. We are going to be using dry ice for these experiments today. I highly recommend not doing these experiments at home, but if you do, you want to make sure to wear protective gloves with the dry ice. You also want to make sure to have your safety goggles and a room that is well ventilated. You want to make sure a door or a window is open, because dry ice is actually CO2 in a solid state. So it's carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is what we breathe out of our mouths every day, but it can be harmful if you consume too much of it or you breathe in too much carbon dioxide. So that's why you want to make sure that your room's ventilated and you have the windows and doors open. And whenever you need to dispose of the dry ice once you're done, you want to make sure to have it outdoors and just let it sublimate on its own and leave it outside until it just disappears, but make sure it's in a place where no children or animals can get to it. So let's get started. We're going to start by putting the dry ice into a bowl of warm water. So let me grab the dry ice here. Got a chunk of dry ice, and I'm going to stick it into the water. And immediately we start to see that dry ice go from its solid state into a gas state, and this is called sublimation. And that's what's really cool about dry ice. What you need is a lot of pressure at a low temperature to get the carbon dioxide to turn into a solid, and then once you put it into water, the water is warm enough that it heats up the carbon dioxide, and instead of melting like an ice cube, it turns into its gas phase, and you get this, which kind of looks like fog. It's so cool. And also what's really neat, you can see that the carbon dioxide is sinking out of the bowl. It's not really rising up. And why it's sinking is because carbon dioxide weighs more than the air. We've talked about density before, and it is more dense, so it kind of oozes out like fog. It would be really cool to use this on a Halloween party. So really neat stuff here. How cold is this carbon dioxide? Whenever it is in its dry ice form, it's actually 109 degrees below zero, which is why we're using protective gloves here as we talk about this experiment. So the next thing I want to do is I have a cylinder here, and if you have a cylinder at home, this is going to work really well. I'm going to grab some dry ice here. I've got a piece. And what we're going to do here is we're going to put some Dawn dish soap into our cylinder. And this is going to help capture that carbon dioxide gas, and it's going to lead to bubbles. So I'm going to stick this in, and we can watch this turn into bubbles here at the top. And instead of like normal bubbles that just pop, these ones, because they have carbon dioxide in them, they turn back into that gas state whenever you pop the bubbles. And it's just really cool to continue to pop them as it goes. And I mean, look at all these bubbles it's making. I didn't add too much dish soap, and you've got all of these bubbles because of that change from a solid to a gas state, which is called sublimation. Now, if you want to check out more Science with Shields episodes, you can always head over to WTAJ Plus or wearecentralpa.com.